And good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanning Ford here with you on a Monday morning. A little late getting started, but here. Be short and brief, a couple of thoughts about the weekend and give you the high school football playoffs. That's the biggest thing I want to get to you this morning in case you hadn't seen it already. I'll give you the rundown on 1, 2, 3, and 4A classifications, and I'll have those for you in just a minute. Before we get started, a couple of notes. Of course, the Carolina Panthers picked up their first win of the season. Two top quarterbacks from this year's draft battled it out like two mules fighting over a turnip. It was not pretty, but it got done. A lot of field goals. Just was not a very pretty sight to see, I don't think. A couple injuries in the NFL. Kirk Cousins may be done for the year. He picked up an Achilles. They don't know. They'll know more today. Just some things that the NFL is just a very strange animal this year. College football as well. A couple of games from the weekend in college football. My Tigers got beat again, which I thought they were apt to against NC State. They're not done losing, in my opinion. They are 4-4. They got to take on Notre Dame this weekend. And that's not going to be an easy sight, even though it's at home. I'm not sure they can beat Notre Dame. And then they got to take on Georgia Tech, which should not be a game. But then they defeated the mighty Tar Heels, pushed 2 losses on the Tar Heels. And even though Mike is back, the ACC is a train wreck. Georgia Tech sets in 4th place, Virginia Tech in 3rd place. Those two teams at 4-4. Overall, Florida State still sets on top. Clemson's got to take on Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. It's just not a good year for the Tigers. And if the man in charge doesn't get things straightened out, get on the right page, I've heard the talk about, well, he don't have the receiving corps. Well, he's the master recruiter. He's the guy. That's what got him the job. He's the guy. So evidently he didn't pull the right trigger on some kids. Some people questioning Klubnik now. Maybe he pulled the trigger wrong on the second quarterback in a row, DJ being the first one. I don't know. I think it's a coordinator issue. I honestly do. I think his success has come from coordinators, and his success came when he was a top-tier recruiter. Now recruiting is not as valuable a tool as it once was. Now the biggest thing is you better know how to evaluate talent in the portal if you're going to do it. Richie, good morning. Richie said Cousins' leg looked like Rodgers. You can see the Achilles pop. So if that's the case, he'll be done for the season. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Some other games from around the weekend in college football. Let me back up a week. It put me a week ahead here. Of course, Georgia took care of business. Ohio State took care of business. Wake fell to Florida State 41-16. Oklahoma picked up their first loss against Kansas. A lot of folks said that was the upset special of the weekend, 38-33. Texas took care of BYU. Oregon beat Utah 35-6. That was a number 8 over a number 13. Penn State over Indiana 33-24. Oregon State fell 27-24. And there's a number 11 team getting knocked off by an unranked team. Notre Dame took care of business against Pitt 58-7. That's why I think my Tigers will struggle. And then the Tar Heels, number 17, they may drop out of the top 25. We'll look at that in a second. Fell 46-42 to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech put up 22 points in the 4th quarter. Duke got a taste of realization on over the weekend. Louisville beat them 23-0. Duke will probably fall out of the top 25 as well. Tennessee had a little bit of a struggle with Kentucky. They won 33-27. It was Tulane over Rice. UCLA beat Colorado 28-16. 4-4 are the Buffaloes now. And then we've got Cal fell to Southern Cal 50-49. James Madison over Old Dominion. That was 30-27. The AP, I believe, is already out. I think it came out late yesterday afternoon. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington. Those are the 5 remaining undefeated teams in the nation. The next 5, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Penn State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss round out the top 11 with 1 loss. Then LSU, Missouri, Louisville, Oregon State, Air Force, Utah, Tennessee, UCLA, Tulane, Kansas breaks into top 25. James Madison, Southern Cal doesn't move, and Kansas State moves into the top 25 at the 25 slot. Carolina got some votes, Liberty got some votes, and Miami got some votes. But here we go. Now you're seeing it. We'll just have to see what happens as we go on. Let me give you the matchups for the week in high school football. This is the 1A. These are teams of local interest to us. These are teams that I think are kind of around our area. Bessemer City will host South Stanley. If they win, they'll get a second home game. They're a number 8 seed. Drawn will host Corvin Community. And if they win, they will likely be on the road. Cherryville is a number 30 seed. They'll travel to Eastern Randolph for their first round. In the 2A, it's Bandy's traveling to Monroe, and the winner of that game will take on the winner of West Lincoln and Chase. West Lincoln a 12, Chase is a 21. Down in the next bracket, Bunker Hill will host East Rutherford. If they win, they could get another home game out of that. They'll take on the winner of Burns and Pine Lake Prep. Moving on down the bracket, Shelby is a number 7 seed. They'll host Mount Pleasant, and Lincoln will travel to number 10 North Surrey. Lincoln a 23 seed. The winners of those 2 games will face each other the following week. Maiden will host a playoff game as they will face East Gaston this Friday, and then they'll take on, if they win, the winner of Salisbury and East Davidson, as Maiden is a number 15 seed in the 2A bracket. David Keever and the guys say that the toughest bracket out there right now is the 3A bracket. I'll give you those schools. Crest is the number 1 seed in the West. Crest will host Parkwood. Statesville will host South Point. The winners of those 2 games will play each other next week. East Lincoln will travel to Ledford. The winner of that game will take on the winner of West Henderson and Irwin. Down in the next bracket, Ashbrook travels to Oak Grove. They'll take on the winner of Pisgah North Henderson. North Gaston will travel to AC Reynolds. They'll take on the winner of Kings Mountain, Smoky Mountain. Smoky Mountain travels to Kings Mountain. North Lincoln will host Rockingham County, and the winner of that game will take on number 2 seed Hickory or Hunter Huss, the winner of that contest. North Lincoln will be the game that we have here on WLON, Rockingham County at North Lincoln. That will be, far as I know, I'm not sure on state starting times. I'll have to get that information. I'll pass it on along to you. And then finally, here's the 4As that affect us here around close. Mooresville back in prominence. They're a number 3 seed. They'll take on A.L. Brown. They've already defeated A.L. Brown in the conference earlier. The winner of that game will take on Davie County, Mount Tabor. And if I'm not mistaken, Mooresville's already beat Davie County in a non-conference contest as well. Lake Norman fell Friday night to Mooresville. I think it was 34-6, if I'm not mistaken. Lake Norman, a number 10 team. That was their first loss on the season. They'll host Independence. The winner of that game will move on to take on the winner of East Forsyth and Page. Let's see. Lindsay said back-to-back wins for the Hurricanes on Thursday and Friday night. Not much for our college teams there, sis. Both of them seem to be, well, I can't tell you what I think they are doing because it just wouldn't be nice of me on a Monday morning. Don't get used to the warm weather. I'm not. I'm ready for it to go away. It's going to go away tomorrow. We're going to have cooler weather, maybe some rain. At one time I saw the possibility of frozen precipitation, but that's not going to be the case. I'm not seeing it now. We might get a frost, though, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Have a great day. I hope that Mr. Rembert's back with me tomorrow. If not, I'll jump on here and give you a few updates on some things. In any way, I about forgot it. I got busy here in the shop. I'm going to get back to work. Have a great Monday, and hope everything goes well for you. I'll see you again in the morning, one way or the other. Have a good one, folks.